We are The Table, and we're so glad that you have taken time out of your week to join us. Welcome to our segment, In 5, where it is our hope that we will guide you forward in life and faith in the next 5 minutes. If you would like to take this conversation deeper and discover from a faith perspective, head on over to thetablejoliet.org.
All right, friends, welcome to N5, episode 15. Sorry I clapped and it was probably really loud, but glad you're here today. We are finishing our series called Can't We All Just Get Along, which is, we want you to be relationship-wise. It's about learning to be wise in relationships. And so today, I want to share this story with you. It's so good. A few years ago, I noticed that when I woke up, I had these dots on my face. They weren't pimples. No, I'm past that stage. But they were just these random, like, clear dots, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And so I was a bit concerned. And so I decided to make a doctor's appointment. I saw the PA there. She took her little light, and she was shining all over my face. By the way, can I just take a time out and ask, do you ever wonder how many noses and how many ears that thing has been in before it goes in yours? I don't know, just a question I always have. Anyway, she gets done and she looks at the spot underneath my ear, which, by the way, it's still here, and she says, that concerns me. And I said, well, what do you mean it concerns you? What do you think? She said, well, it could be nothing, or it could be something. Could be something, could be nothing, I don't really know. And I was so frustrated in that moment because it felt like she was saying, I'm really concerned about what's on your face. And then in the next moment, it's like, I don't know, could be something, could be nothing. And I wanted to say to her, hey, listen, if it's a big deal to me, it should be a big deal to you. If it's a big deal to me, it should be a big deal to you. And so today I want to talk about relationships because so many times when people are talking to us, it is not a big deal to us. And so I want to talk about this. We minimize people's concerns in 3 different ways. We minimize concerns, other people's concerns, when it doesn't compare. You've had people talking to you about how bad their day was, and you're like, oh my goodness, if they only knew what I've been through today. It's like, it doesn't compare. We minimize others' concerns based on maturity level. A lot of times when people are younger, we tend to dismiss their thoughts, their opinions, what they think, because it's like, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. They'll grow out of this stage. We minimize others' concerns. When it doesn't have direct impact. You remember when somebody came up to you and like, Susie's mother's sister's brother has cancer, and you're like, oh, Susie's mother's brother's sister has cancer. Should I care? Should I care? I don't know. I don't even know who this is. And so we minimize others' concerns, which leads me to this point. I love that when it comes to, well, at least to the God that I believe in and the God that I serve, we often think God minimizes our concerns. We believe that the prayers that we have and the things that we pray aren't big enough for Him. I recently met with a guy who was in the last few days of his life, and he was telling me about his prayers. I said, well, tell me, what do you pray for? He said, I pray for my kids. I pray for my family. I pray for my pets. I pray for our nation. I pray for the world. I pray for peace. I pray for unity. And I asked him this. I said, do you pray for you? Do you pray for you? Do you pray that God would heal you? And he said, I just figure that God has bigger worries in the world. Why would He worry about me? And so I just want you to know this, that God thinks you're a big deal. And because He thinks you're a big deal, like when it's a big deal to you, it's a big deal to Him. I want you to know that. When it's a big deal to you, it's a big deal to him. When you're not sure where you're going to get your next paycheck or how whether the finances are going to come through, if it's a big deal to you, it's a big deal to him. If you're a student and you're thinking about where you're going to college or what degree will I hold or what career path will I take, I know there are people like, it's not a big deal. It's just college. But I would say to you, if it's a big deal to you, it is a big deal to God. And so I want you to understand that perception of who God is and how he responds to us is how we relate to others. Now think about this. If it's a big deal to you and it's a big deal to God, then if it's a big deal to them, it should be a big deal to you. The other day, my wife came in and she was talking about IEPs. She's a resource teacher now. And so she was talking about IEPs. And if you've ever read an IEP, it will put you to sleep. And she's telling me all about this and that. And I just sort of I checked out. And then I thought, wait a minute, this is a big deal to her. It should probably be a big deal to me. And so here's a tip. Here's a tip on making things a big deal that may not be a big deal to you, or when you feel like you want to minimize other people's concerns, because it is so easy to do. I do it all the time. But here's the marker. Here's the thing. When you check out, check back in. When you check out, check back in. And what I mean by that is anytime you feel like you are starting to check out, not as big a deal as what I'm going through, or based on maturity, hey, listen, you're too young, not a big deal. Wait till the real world finds you. Like if you start finding yourself saying that, or if you're saying, just doesn't compare with what I've gone through, or it doesn't have a direct impact on my life, why should I care? You should probably check back in. You should check back in. The moment you check out, it's like, I need to check back in. So if it's a big deal to them, it's got to be a big deal to you. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us on this segment of In5.